Hi everybody, welcome to 𝒂𝒂𝒓𝒏𝒂𝒓𝒚, episode number 2 in English. First of all, I just want to thank everybody for all the support and the attention that you guys have been giving me, and thank you for the stories that you guys have been sending. I hope and pray that you guys send me more, and thank you for the trust. Alright, let's begin with this episode. Story number 1. It's called Divine Warning. It's by an anonymous person. About 15 years ago, I was attending high school, and the girl that I was talking to called me during the Christmas morning to telling me, "Be very careful, because I had one of my visions/dreams where I saw you crashing into a bunch of things. Please, if you're going to drink, do not drive, please." I thought she was crazy, and I ignored her because I don't believe in those things, the spiritual or divine things. I'm an atheist. Time went by, and we stayed as very good friends. After 2 years of this call, I ended up crashing very badly on a New Year's Eve, taking with me an electric pole, about 10 palm trees, and my car got destroyed, but somehow I made it out without a scratch. When I told her about it, she got mad at me and told me, "I told you to not be drinking and driving." That's what I saw in my dream. Thank God he showed me, and I've been praying for you all of this time for you to be safe. Nothing happening to you truly was a miracle. Even to this day, I get doubtful at times, and I want to be grateful that I'm healthy and alive, and I get this internal conflict wanting to recognize God, but my pride won't allow me. I hope that one day you do get to recognize him, that your heart gets soft, or not soft like that, but like that your heart gets healed from whatever that created that pride, and you're able to actually, recognize that God is good and that He had protected you all this time, that He really loves you despite that you don't believe in Him. Yeah, He loves you a lot. He wants you to know that, Also, I do want to add that even demons recognize that God is God. They don't make that mistake that a lot of humans, we do, that we doubt that God is someone that created us, like that He's the God of the universe. I hope you do get to recognize Him one day. The next story is titled, "What's Cheap Turns Out to Cost You More in the End." Maria from Mexico. A friend of mine had a hair salon, and I had made an appointment with her for her to cut my hair. Her. Just kidding. I just needed a tiny trim. I missed my appointment with her due to an emergency, and since another salon was open and it was cheaper, I ended up going there because I needed the cut and I was already there. Anyways, I showed up to my friend's salon after 2 days, and I tell her, "Caroline, you're not going to believe what happened to me." To which Caroline responded, "I can kind of see what happened. Let me see this haircut." After Caroline inspected, she asked, "Why didn't you come back to the place where they cut it?" I honestly don't like to talk poorly about other cosmetologists or criticize their work, but this is a disgrace. Seriously, who did this to you? Just to give a clear image of what happened, the length of my hair was around my waist, and the haircut that was given to me, it looked like how we say in Mexico, as if a donkey chewed my hair up. You can imagine how it looked. I told Caroline, "I know, it's so bad. I went with the lady that's a few blocks from here because that day stuff happened and I couldn't make it on time with you. So by the time I came, you had already closed, and since I was already around, I went to the one that had these haircuts for $5. It caught my attention for how cheap it was. Back in the day, the hair salons had their haircuts around $15, to which the economy we were in was a lot. And I did go back to tell her to fix it right before I got here. But you are not going to believe what she said to me. I arrived at her salon all mad and demanded her to give me a better haircut. To which she replied to me, I know. Can't you see all the people I have waiting? Do you want to be waiting with them? To which I said, of course not. But can't you see the disgrace you have done to my hair? And she said, well, what more did you expect for a haircut that only cost you $5, woman? And I couldn't believe how cynic she was by saying that. It was so much my disbelief that I couldn't do anything but laugh at this cynicism she had. Plus, I mean, she was right. What else could I had expected for $5? This lady and I couldn't stop laughing in front of the customers. I dropped my bottle and just came to you to find some dignity in the very least. Caroline and I couldn't stop laughing for a few minutes. Then I proceeded on telling Caroline that I pictured the lady as a clown as soon as that came out of her mouth, and we laughed even more. Caroline then told me the only way to fix this was by giving me a bob cut, which is a cut above the shoulders, and sadly I took it. That's what I get for being cheap, but nothing would take away the laughter that we all had that day. That's cute. Maria says, the moral of the story is that what's cheap costs us more in the long run. And that it's also okay to laugh at the bad moments or experiences we have in life, and about ourselves too. Also, knowing the value of what you have to give, the value of your products, gifts, and talents. And I do agree with that with Maria. We minimize a lot what we're capable of. What we're capable of. Excuse me. We minimize a lot what we're capable of, and we also feel like we diminish the value of what we have to give. Even if it's just our presence, you know? Even if it's just the way you love people. Even if it's just you helping somebody. We diminish so much what we are and what we do in this generation, I feel like, especially during these times. We were taught that if we didn't have shiny things, maybe we weren't valuable, you know? But no, like we have to understand we're much more than the material things we can have. Like the love we give, it's so much more valuable than what we give it, than what we think about it, you know, or than what we give it value. And I think we really need to recognize the value that we all have, and recognize the value of our love as well, because I feel that right now everybody gets played because nobody knows their value. So I hope we all learn to actually be aware of our value, you know, how much we're worth, you know, and how much the things that come from us, like our gifts, our talents, how much value they have, and give them the proper price, or given the proper company, or given the proper love. You know what I mean. I do hope all of us can actually do that, because it's so easy to just diminish ourselves. I do it all the time. Something I need to work on. And I'm sure a lot of people my age actually have to work on that too. Story number 3. It's called Divine Healing. It's Susana from Mexico. Hi. For many years, I suffered a lot due to my tonsils. I used to be hospitalized every 2 months for 3 years, or in a good year, every 6 months. I was given very strong medicines for it, and even though I was very young. When I turned around 12 years old, our doctor recommended my parents for me to have surgery, to have them removed, since it will be better for me in the long run. My parents did not have that kind of money, so they opted out from the surgery. Excuse me. Years passed, and I kept suffering from the things that would come up with having infections on my tonsils or whatever issue related to them. One day, I remembered I was in agony because of it. I remember doing a prayer asking God to help me out of this problem. When I was sick, I couldn't eat, couldn't breathe well, and sometimes I just wouldn't talk to avoid more pain. It was hard to recuperate from all the nutrients I would lose when I would get sick. So my body was very weak and I was very skinny. Going back to the day I made my prayer to God for healing, I did it because I was sick and for a couple of days bedridden. I missed all of my college classes that week because I just couldn't deal with the pain. My parents still didn't have money for me to have the surgery, and to be honest, that was more like my responsibility now since I was about to turn 20 that same year. After that night, in which I prayed and prayed and prayed for me to be healed by God, to have this problem removed somehow, I woke up the next morning and I had a different type of pain, like a soreness, not a sickness, in my tonsils. I went to the mirror to see what was going on inside my mouth and see why I had this different type of pain. I wanted to investigate. I remember seeing only my amygdalas in their natural pink-red color. No tonsils at all. But me being skeptical, I called my mom, asking if she could see my tonsils. She came and she started inspecting and kept looking and checking without telling me anything. I told her, "So, are they there? What can you see? Tell me something." And my mom said, "Well, I don't see them at all. But how is this possible, Susan? Really, you don't have them. We should go to the doctor to verify with him." But I was fearful my miracle won't be one, so I decided not to go to the doctor. Years passed and I stopped getting sick. If I ever got sick, was with a mild colds and very little to nothing of pain. I was able to eat better. My body gained nutrients. I finally gained some weight. Life was more enjoyable. One day, due to a migraine, I went to a different doctor in another state because she was living in another state. And while the doctor was doing the original inspections, I asked him if he could tell me if I had my tonsils. To which he looked at me and said, "Wouldn't you know if you had the surgery to have them removed?" To which I said, "I didn't have surgery. One day I prayed for them to be gone, and I think it happened." He looked at me skeptical and wondered if I was joking at him or not, with a little intrigue on his eyes. To which I said again, "I'm serious, I'm being honest, I didn't have them removed." He looked at me again, a little scared, a little skeptical, and just said with a firm and serious tone, "You don't have any tonsils." I smiled, but I could tell he just wanted to get everything done as soon as possible. It's been 13 years without tonsils, and I cannot exaggerate how much better my life has become ever since. I will always be so grateful for the miracle that God allowed me to have. I seriously do love miracles. I have so many stories where God has taken things away from me that were kind of like this. And if I say them, people would think I'm crazy. Also my mom and just so many people that I know have had divine healing like this. It's really pretty. I love miracles. I love it. Number 4. Evil multiplies when no one does nothing. Excuse me. Sorry, my throat is a little dry today. Evil multiplies when no one does nothing about it. I agree. It's anonymous. Hi. When I was in middle school, I was very nerd. I was one of those kids who had to have an A in absolutely everything. It was part of my identity. There was a group of cruel teenagers in my classroom. They were the bullies, and I was their victim on a constant basis because I was truly a nerd, and any kind of expression used to terrify me, let alone defend myself. One of my friends was transferred to my classroom, and it was finally some peace because she used to defend me from them, and if she was around, they would calm down. But if she wasn't around, it was a constant bullying me and me suffering. Time passed by, and my friend started missing school because of problems her family kept having. The bullying grew during that time. They started hitting me more, elbowing me whenever I had to pass through where they were. They used to call me names, make rumors about me. I used to tell the principal and anybody else who could do something about it. And all they did was ignore me and my situation. The story is not so bad. But I do think the schools need to have a better way to handle the situations, because this is how horrible circumstances come. In my agony and desperation, I told another friend from another school what was going on, and she told her boyfriend. Another friend ended up knowing and also told her boyfriend, and her boyfriend told his brother. We all decided that something had to be done, so this injustice was stopped. Nothing but they were only going to scare them. These teenagers had a place where they would go after classes at the end of every week. It was like a little getting together. That's where we all met them. We cornered them, and the boys that were with me were asking them like, hey, what's your problem with her? Like yelling at them to give them an answer. These idiot teenagers started crying, cowards, cowards. Some started lying about it, saying they don't know what they're talking about, cowards. Some of them threw fists at my friends, but my friends, being older and stronger, would only push them away, not hearing them to not make a bigger problem. The people that were with me finished by saying to leave me alone, or they will come again, and the next time it wouldn't be just words, that it wouldn't be peaceful. I thanked them after, and everybody went home. The next morning, at school, these stupid, cruel teenagers had made a fuss about the situation, and since they were kids from people that have money, sellouts, the people at school. Sorry, I just hate these things. Anyways, there were kids from people that had money. The principal and everybody else now was involved. I was suspended from school for a couple days because of what I did, but they didn't. There was a meeting for our parents to attend, and parents alike started arguing about how was it possible that only their children were the ones creating an atmosphere of cruelty when it was so many other children that aren't. They started yelling at them, at the parents of the teenagers, how bad of parents they were, and that things needed to change, or all of the other parents will also do something about it, since the principal or anybody else refused to do anything about it when the bullying was happening. It was a little chaotic, to be honest, but it had to happen. Their kids calmed down and also got more restrictions on what they could do and where they could go. When my parents did the contrary, started giving me a little more freedom. It says, this always reminds me of how the standard effect really creates a stagnant environment of cruelty and passivity. And that before things get better, they will always get worse. Very true. And I will always be grateful for the help that I receive from those beautiful souls and for those friendships that are there to remind you that your voice matters. What you have to give to this world matters. The ones that teach you to be brave and take courage, to defend yourself and to raise your voice. I think this is very pretty because I had situations where I have helped friends like that too, or where I had like defending people that were being bullied just because they had less or just for stupid reasons really. And it's also another reason, this is like perfect for my podcast, because this is like one of the reasons why God put in my heart to create this, to make this, because I want to make your stories echoed. I want to make them know I want to make them known to people, because we all go through different stuff, and I believe that sometimes we think that only famous people go through like extraordinary things, you know? And no, it's not like that. We normal people, ordinary people, go through even more unbelievable things that famous people go through, or we have like just beautiful stories of courage, of miracles, of like God trying to warn us about things, and we just ignore them, and we think we don't deserve them just because we're not famous, you know? But this really was one of the reasons why I wanted to create this, what I wanted to make this channel, what I wanted to make this a space for people to have a voice, or to at least to have their voice echoed one way or another. And this is why I came with this, why I brought this, why God put in my heart to make this. I just really wanna make the stories known. I really do. And I wanna show everybody that their voice matters. Like, your life can create a difference to other people's life. Like, what you went through can be the breakthrough of what other people are going through, you know? I feel that we are here, all of us are here just to help everybody thrive. And yeah, I think this is a good way to do that. I think this is a good way to demonstrate that good things also happen, not just bad things, how we usually hear everywhere. And I just want to make it known. I want to make those things known. I want to create a different perspective of things, of life. But yeah, I really do love people like this. And I know that some stories like this have turned very badly. So I just hope everybody can be empathetic enough and can be loving enough so the catastrophes don't happen. They don't need to happen. Yeah. The next one is called Divine Protection, and it's a story of mine. In the last episode, I said I had to ask people involved, to ask the people involved if I could share it. So yeah, I can. And I'll be narrating it, but if I have to add things, I will. Yeah, it's called Divine Protection. And it's Spanish, I feel like the hand of God, but it doesn't really sound that great in English. History of my mom, her best friend, her daughter, and I. Once upon a time, we were going to go out with my mom's best friend. Her name is Soraya, and her daughter Berito, who also happened to be like my little best friend when we were younger. And she was younger than me for 2 years. Well, she still is younger than me for 2 years. This was the first time that my mom had met Soraya's boyfriend. Therefore, my mom did not have a clue that this guy was super drunk, horribly drunk. There's no words to describe how drunk this guy was. They got home and picked us up. To be honest, I have no clue where we were going, but we got in the car because, I mean, it meant we will all be hanging out together. This guy started driving upward towards the next street that would become our street, but that street did not have an exit. This is kind of weird, okay? So our house, it was kind of like a mountain, right? And like it was like this, and then after this, it was like this, kind of like this. Sorry, Mexico. So it was like this, and this is where they were talking, what I'm saying about the streets combining, you know, like about the streets collapsing at this time, and this street will become this street. Hopefully that makes sense. Sorry, guys. So let me see. Yeah, so this guy started driving towards that, the side of the mountain, the side of the mountain Oh yeah. We lived on what we call cerros on Spanish, to which people in the States call mountains. Mountains, whatever. Okay, the side of the mountain we lived on, was in, was in the lower area near the boulevard, 2 blocks from the boulevard, and this street where he wanted to drive was on the middle of the cerro. Yeah, right here. And it wasn't pavimented. Now it is, and now the street also has an exit, but during the time it didn't. The street was also very narrow and had no exit. So if anybody wanted to back down, it will have to like be reversed and very careful. And if there were other cars, the other cars will have to like slowly back down to like backed up as well. It was just a pain. It was a nightmare. It was so scary because like the houses in the street, they were like on an upper level on the side. They were like on an upper level, right? And then the houses under, they were like under the side of the street. It was like very little of the space that they would cover, you know, like if somebody will go down. So if somebody will go down, they would just go down to the main boulevard. Really, like the houses were little. They were made out of really cheap wood. It was kind of like a poor neighborhood back then. Now it's not. So if a car were to fall down, it would not hold it. Not at all. Like there was no way. Given this explanation, let me keep on going. There were houses on a bigger level, on a higher level on the street. Yep, and also on the lower level of the street. Meaning the houses were under the street. Yes. Yep, and this created the Great 𝒂𝒂𝒏 Canyon, all the way into the main boulevard. It was a little high, and under the street were other little houses and other little roads where only people would walk and to their houses. Like a car would not fit through those little roads. It was just for people. And what people used to do, though, they used to park their cars on the other side of the cerro, you know, like it was like this, so they'll park it like on this side. Or like this side. It was kind of like that. Yeah, so they would just walk and park their cars and just walk to their house. And honestly, like the houses were very little. It was like where people were barely getting their land and they were barely constructing and the economy was kind of like low. It was crazy. It's not like that anymore. It's actually a really good neighborhood now. I love you all. But anyways, to all the people that I used to live there, if you guys see me, I do love you guys. Yeah, so it did create that big canyon, and yeah. Honestly, it was scary. It was a big canyon, and like the only thing that you could really see if you were to like look down on the hill through the canyon, through the 𝒂𝒂𝒏 Canyon, you could see very little of the houses because it would go like I don't know, it's weird. You will see only little of the houses, so you will only see like the houses that were in the main boulevard, which was very low, like a really good distance. To the point to where my street and this street would meet, yeah, this little part was the only point where people could do a U-turn comfortably without so much back and forth, you know, like without so much like reverse and going forward. So this guy, after deciding going upwards just because he wanted to, we all believe it was because he wanted to make a U-turn easier. But no, turns out he really wanted to exit on the other side of the mountain, which had no exit. And I remember at that time, Soraya, my mom were yelling at him saying that, hey, this doesn't have an exit, just do the turn. Like, please don't keep on going. You're not gonna be able to get out, you know? And like they were, like everybody was yelling. This guy was being really stubborn and idiotic. I remember at one point, Benito and me, we were yelling at him like, there's not an exit there. And this is nothing. What I'm showing you right now, like this is nothing. It was so chaotic. Imagine like Or imagine 5 people yelling at the same time. And one of them is like, yeah, this is an exit. I will go because there is an exit. You guys are wrong. And then the other ones are like, we're telling you there's not. Stop, blah, blah, blah. It was so chaotic. So chaotic. So this guy, he pretended to make like the little U-turn, you know, like to try, like he pretended to make the U-turn. So by the time that he was in here and he was trying to do like the little U-turn where we're coming this way, and he turned like this, you know, to like do this little part and then just go back to where our street was. No, you know what this guy did? You are not gonna believe the audacity. I know, talking about this is just too much. This guy, he acted like he was possessed. I'm not even kidding you. When he said this, I was like, is this guy possessed? I remember thinking that. That was the only thing I could think about. I was like, this guy is gonna kill us. He's possessed. We're right here in this little port. Yeah, we're... Okay, yeah, so this is right here. The houses were under here. We're right here. He's about like this. He's not going this way anymore. He's not going that way anymore. He's like this, 180 to turn backwards to where we should have gone. And after he said that 180 degree to return to our street. Yeah. So once we are in this position, he yells super loud. Like what I'm gonna give right now, the demonstration I'm gonna give you is not even close to it. He went like, I've told you there's an exit! Like super bad, super loud. I'm telling you, that guy was possessed. I'm about to show all of you. And then he started laughing like so evil, so evilish. And he was like, while he like pressed on the accelerator. Oh my God, no. So he pressed, oh my God, I'm scratching this way thinking about it. So he pressed into the accelerator. The fence was so little, it was just pieces of wood. And it wasn't even like heavy wood. It was just the cheapest wood that you could find, really. So he goes in, we go in, and I was like, yep, this is it. This is it. I remember thinking, this is where my life ends. This is where I go. This is how long I left. And I used to play in that house that was right below us, so I knew they didn't have enough to support us if we did fall through. But I also knew that it wasn't big enough to hold if we even touched it. And with the velocity that we were going through, it was not possible at all that we would have fallen there at all. So part of me didn't want to believe that was going on. As soon as we drove through the little wood fence, our neighbors, our neighbors I knew it was the end. Like I'm telling you, it was impossible that we survived that. I put my arm over Berito. She was on my right hand. I put my arm over her and told her to close my eyes. Told her to close her eyes, sorry. And I closed mine too. My mom put her body over us, and she explained to me that the fence had a little rump, you know, like where there was the fence, it was like a little bit up. So it made us flip through the air. So because we were going so fast, I'm not kidding you guys, it was something crazy. So we go like this and we went like this, right? When we went through like the fence. I do not remember because like I said, I was terrified. I closed my eyes. For me, that was the end. There was no way that we could have survived that. I picture myself on the main boulevard. That's how bad it was that I knew we weren't gonna survive it. If it wouldn't be for God, we wouldn't be here. Like honestly, that was seriously a miracle. So my mom explained to me the fence had a ramp, right, where it started. So we went like this. We went up instead of just going straight, how we were supposed to. And she said we did a flip through the air, and that when we were doing that the car fell like this with the front part. So I guess like the car didn't have enough velocity to like do the full flip and just like keep on going, you know. So that really helped us. But even then, to be honest, even then I don't think that was doable. Like I really do think it was a miracle, because the house was not big, it wasn't strong enough to carry the weight of a car and 5 people on it. Anyway, so like my mom explained that to me, and Berito and I, since we were little, we were able to exit through the window because the windows were halfway open. I took Berito to the house with me in case things went bad, because where the car fell was like a little porch, and it was perfectly made for the car. It literally, we fell like this, so in case that the little porch wouldn't support the weight, I took Berito home, because I was like, just in case things really go bad, we don't want to see this, you know. We were little. I was 6, she was 4, or I was 5 and she was 3, or around those ages. So my mom told me that after we left, she broke the window down, and she exited through where we exit to. So she exited through that, and then Soraya, her friend, she was in shock. She was like yelling hysterically. She couldn't believe, like, she was in the front, so she saw everything. She felt the impact. I can't even imagine seeing all of that. Like, I closed my eyes because I knew it was gonna be traumatic. So my mom told me Soraya was in shock. She was like yelling hysterically. She didn't know what to do. She was like just like ah, you know. So my mom guided her through the window so she could take her out. She left the guy there because like his book couldn't be broken. It got stuck, and honestly, he deserved it. He was an idiot. He risked all of this and himself. Anyways, my mom left him there while he was stuck in there. She made sure everybody got paid for the damages. It was different times, and it was in Mexico, so like suing will really take a long time, and it wouldn't have given them nothing really. So my mom ended up paying the people for their damages, and everybody was good. Nobody was injured by it. My mom was bruised for a long time after that, from like her coccyx all the way through her skull, like in the back of like where the neck and the skull meet, and she was bruised. Like all of that was purple and green. My grandpa noticed one day, and it lasted her 3 months after the accident. Honestly, like it was just really the hand of God, I think so. Like making the car go like through the little flip in the air and then just fall this way, because I swear to you, if we just would have kept on going like this, we would have been on that main boulevard. I'm telling you, the houses were not strong enough to take us out, to like hold us in. But this little Porsche did, by the hand of God. Seriously. That's it. That's the story. Yeah, my mom paid for everybody the bruise. Oh yeah, and Soraya, she just had heart surgery recently. So I'm just gonna ask you, to whoever that's watching, to please keep her in your prayers and to wish her for a quick recovery. Love you, Soraya. Yep, just keep her in your prayers. Also, please, if you drink, do not drive. It's not only your life that you're gonna be taking, it will be the life of innocent people that do not deserve to leave before their time. Please do not drive and drink. Order an Uber, order a taxi. Have a friend drive you. If you can do that, stay home and drink. But if you can avoid it, just don't drink at all. I've known so many people that have died because of it, and it's usually the people that aren't even drinking, the ones that passed away because of situations like this. I would say we're a miracle, but this doesn't happen every day. And Seriously, do not drink and drive. Do not drink and drive, because like I said, it's not just your life, it's the life of many others. And their lives matter too. Your life matters too. It's better to go when you're supposed to than to go by an accident. Yeah. Thank you so much for your attention and for your support and for the stories. Please send me your stories to @𝒂𝒓𝒅𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒓𝒚@gmail.com, and follow my Insta page. It's gonna be there too. It's 𝒂𝒂𝒓𝒅𝒏 too. It has the dot after the echoes. It will be right below. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Many blessings to all of you. Love you.